And I just thought I'd talk real quickly in kinds of correlating with things. So people are familiar with bunions, correct? And so I kind of discussed why, in many cases, above and beyond the genetics piece, like, okay, who'd you get it from? Mother, father, grandfather, whatever, which there is a very strong link with that. It's a strategy. Usually, more times than not, it means it's an area that the body has loaded something so aggressively into a rotated state that that's where their body is more moving their weight through. So if I were to exaggerate it, let's say it's a right bunion. If I have a body that has a propensity to be heavy oriented and arranged towards that side, and I kind of do what I'm exaggerating, like a long stance on that side, then I do that longer roll towards that side, which something's going to give. Okay, what's it going to be? Is it going to be a back being pushed? Is it going to be a hip that just keeps shooting out to the side and the labral gives? Is it going to be a foot because they wore crappy shoes for many years as a professional? Didn't help matters, do you know what I mean? So sometimes when you look at what they did, the person we demonstrated showed that when they went to go do the low propulsion, they had a very strong midfoot when the leg was going up strategy that kind of corrected once they got up compared to that other side, which means that over the course of time, it's just become something that they've begun to do. And now structures morphed and changed. And now they've got this bunion, or now they've got the hallux valgus, or whatever you want to call it. And it's not valgus, to be clear, because there are no lines. It is rotation. That if that's going down like this into that direction, something has to rotate the other way. Can you see that? So this is IR-ing, let's say pronating, they go together, towards the ground, which means something else has to go another way. It's rotated. Can you see that? Hands and wrists do the same thing. Then you got these sesamoid bones, speaking of bunions real quickly, that then get pushed underneath. Now they're leveraging it. Now they're like, whoop, now I'm holding you on that position because I'm shot to the inside. And that's why they become so painful, because now they're held hostage. Now they can't go out of it. So some of the stuff I work on with people is not just yoga toes and toe spacers and all that stuff, but it's teaching them to say, can we get your body to learn to move through, create that wave to return back to a resupination through the whole extremity, not just the toe, not just push it out. Making sense? To be able to see if we can create better space into that direction to allow it to be able to get there. Do sometimes I need surgery? Yeah, of course, absolutely. But if I get the rest of the system to be able to do a better job of coordinating all the movements, then even outcomes will be just that much better. They're not going to be kind of beating it down that much more after some procedure. All right, can I use you too? So we did a great example. This was really nice because they were kind enough to allow me to kind of use them as examples. We were looking at the toe touch, low propulsion, and the squat. Thank you. We talked with Teresa first. So Teresa, in standing, can you just stand face that way? Great. Has a propensity to be a little bit back with her upper body. Okay? So can you do the lifting one? When she goes to lift her arms up, they go back further. She just leans back a little bit more. Okay? There's already movement in that direction, so it's like, great, I'm going to do this. And so if I'm just looking down here and not seeing what she does up there, can you see her whole upper body is now back of her system? So it's almost, you can relax for me, thank you. It almost doesn't matter what happens down here because she already has some compensation up here that we need to address. But like I said, if I'm working with a client, I'll go through the rest of it just so that they think I'm doing something. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, they're not going to be able to move well down here at all without being able to get this to a better position, okay? So then when we looked at her toe touch, go ahead and do your toe touch. You can see there's a little more kyphosis through here, and her flat spot is more lower thoracic, upper lumbar. Can you appreciate that? And she gets down to her toes, and she gets a little bit of rounding by the sacrum as well. But her hinge point is right there. Can you see that? Okay, and come back up for me. And then when we watched her squat, you'd think, there's no way she's gonna be able to squat deep. But she squats pretty well, doesn't she? Great, and then again for me, please. Awesome. And then come back up. So who's familiar with butt wink? Right? Okay. She gets a minor case of it. Let me tell you what that means. Can you do it for me again for me? Right there, can you see she changes and then comes back up? So she goes down, and because of this position she has right here, let's just say forward, it never goes back with everything else. It stays forward in that position. And in order for her to get to the ground, something had to give. You with me? So it's like, I'm going to keep going because I can. So structures move out of the way and then go, ooh, bonk, and then just create this aggressive flexion from here to here. But she never really gets flexion throughout the whole spine. Can you see the difference now? So butt wink isn't just like a thing. It's a thing that you want to try and not load through because that's spine movement that's happening that's not in a balanced way. She's someone you kind of... It's called butt wink. Oh, can you do me a favor? Can you stand here? Wink, 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 wink. Can you stand and face that way so she can see you from the side? A little bit more at an angle. Nope. Right there, awesome. So watch what happens. She gets down. Right about, everything tucks underneath at once. It happens aggressively with some people. Hers isn't as aggressive, but it's like this thing, and then whoop, everything moves versus everything kind of rounding evenly the whole way down and up. Does that clarify that? Okay. So, thank you very much. She said, I can't squat like that at all. Go ahead and show me for me, please. Squat? Yeah. And that's what she's got. Okay? And then come back up. And one more time for me. And then come back up. If she goes any deeper, I can't do it. But she elevates her heels and she can get there. Okay? That's not an ankle dorsiflexion thing. We're going to clarify that this afternoon. There may be part of that, but that's not the primary issue what the heel lift's doing. A heel lift's making space for her to be able to move back into to get down deeper. Yes, it's taking away a little bit of ankle dorsiflexion, absolutely, but that's not the only reason, okay? So what we found out was, Teresa, what did you tell us you love to do that helped your back? Deadlifts. Heavy and deep helped her back because her pelvis and rib cage have this more, I alluded to it earlier, so I'm not going deep, I just want to use this as a good teaching moment, of that wider infrasternal angle that she has. It's not better or worse than this. It's just different. That's why I said it tells me something. She can't squat as well. She has a more, sorry, can I touch?
Yeah.
Thank you. She's more narrow. She's inward of like 100-ish degrees, 105 degrees. This will move differently than that. Again, not better or worse. I just want to be clear, okay? So which would we focus on with some of these people? Things that they'd be more successful with. So would I want to create compensations? Would I want to create strategies to allow her to be successful with her squats using that heel lift as an example? Absolutely. You betcha. I want her to learn to find that space safely. Would I work on gradually taking it away? That's the goal.
And if I can't do deadlifts as well, is it because of my orientation? Okay.
Thank you for asking. I didn't ask her to say that either. You can relax. That's awesome. Thank you. Some structures will squat better than others. Some will deadlift better than others, and you see it with your clients, I'm sure. One that's more this way will have a hard time getting to position to allow things to move to space to create the hinge that they need. Versus another one that has space here for things to move into to be able to get there. Okay? More compressive in nature, I showed you earlier, narrow, globally. More compressive front to back, the wider. Just a different. One's more from the sides, one's more from front to back. Just different behaviors, different activities, different strategies. I'm just using it as an example of things. As I said, I'm not going to go deep into that because it's too much for today. But if I just show you why some of these things might make sense to you, or if it gives you an idea as to why some of these things might make more sense to you, that's what I'd like to do, okay? The other piece, too, with Teresa's a good example of is she used the word flare, and I love that word. So her if we want to kind of look at bone structures, her ASIS on both sides are more outwardly positioned. I don't have X-ray eyes, okay? I don't know why I do pinkies, but I got the pinky thing going here, okay? So these bones are more, I'm going to use the word bent in this direction. Are they outwardly oriented? Yes. Are they likely being pulled aggressively by all these structures to take it and just kind of bend it out a little bit? Sure. I see it with sacrums. I see it with spinous processes. We see it with all types of stuff. Ribs, all over the place. Peter and I were talking about that earlier. Okay? Don't think, oh my gosh, my bones are bent. It just means over time, just picture in your head sometimes like, man, why can't I get that to happen? They might need time before they get there because of not just weakness or tightness. Those are hip flexors that will feel tight often because they're here a lot. I don't know if they do, but not you, obviously, your work. But this position right here, you can see how that iliacus and that psoas in those positions are like, whoa, holy cow. They're going to have a tendency to kind of be hanging on to people. And so then they get to positions to kind of stretch them, and it's kind of like, well, all you're doing is opening it more. Okay? So sometimes the sensation of tightness isn't always indicative of what's actually going on. Sometimes there's deeper stuff that's feeding into it. Okay? Questions on that information? Awesome. Thank you.